So hello everybody, it is August 30th. It's been quite a while since I've done a video, so I wanted to do a video and show you what's going on in the garden. I'll start off with my strawberries. So the strawberries are actually doing pretty well. There's a lot more strawberries on the plant than there were before. Not very big, or they don't look very good. If you see that strawberry right there, it's kind of rotted. But it's doing actually pretty well. I'm really not concerned with taking care of the strawberries. I mean, some bugs have gotten to it. You can see it in the leaves. I'm really more concerned with my tomato tree that I have over here, because if you look at my tomato tree, has folded over because of the weight of the tomatoes. I didn't really do anything to kind of help it stand up, because it was already pretty big when I got back from my trip and folded over. And I am a whopping 5'4" in height, and I'm really not that tall to help it out. So we'll see how it goes. If anything, all my big tomatoes that are green, I could always just pick them off, you know, make a nice little green tomato salad, or you can even cook with the green tomatoes as well. It's a different texture and a different flavor, so I'll basically see how that goes. Of course, nothing really going on with the broccoli here. You know, tomatoes is really my biggest project, I guess, during my first season, as well as the eggplants. So here's my sister's Mexican sunflowers. They've actually looked really beautiful. If you check this one out, it's pretty big. It actually has a nice size bee on it that I did not see when I just went that close to it, but I'm gonna let it continue to do its work. So over here we have the carrots. The carrots aren't really doing much, unfortunately. This carrot's leaves have burned out, so I'm gonna pull this carrot. Carrot's not really that big, but you know, I'm actually gonna try it and see how it tastes. But you know, carrots, something that was just an experiment. I don't really want to do carrots next year, that's for sure. We have my herbs over here. We have the parsley, the onions. I did harvest some of it. I wouldn't recommend harvesting all of it if you're not going to use it, because it's a waste. Don't want to waste. So that's doing pretty well. Then we have the chamomile over here. Zoom in. I might do chamomile next year. I did it for my mother-in-law, but she kind of prefers just getting the chamomile. I might do some chamomile maybe in my front porch, but we'll see how that goes. So here's my tomato tree again from this point of view, and of course you see it kind of turned over here and the stem kind of bended there, and it kind of makes me very sad to see that. Then you have this one that kind of bent over and now is like growing on the top tier. You have my cherry tomatoes here. They're actually doing really well. I've been harvesting cherry tomatoes the whole entire time, so you got some cherry tomatoes there. Then we have my peppers, my jalapenos that are growing, and you can see there's a little bell pepper kind of growing right there. Doing pretty well. Happy from what I see here with the jalapenos. I've been donating them. They're doing really well. So if we keep moving down, we have my eggplant. And if you didn't see it when I was showing you my cherry tomatoes, this is the eggplant that I got off of this tree. And if you can see right there is 2 more eggplants growing in as we speak. But this is the size of the eggplant that I got. It's a really nice size. It's very firm and beautiful. So I was really happy about that. Then over here we have my cucumbers. I have a lot of production going on in cucumbers. This is a cucumber that's actually already been cut. We cut some of the cucumber off. It was given another few inches here. It was very crisp and good. It was a really good flavor. I enjoyed it. We still have more cucumbers growing here. So you can see cucumber. And if you look, I tried to manipulate this to come up here, which successfully worked. But then if you continue to go this way, it's continuing to go over this way, and with little support, it actually has attached itself to here. And I do not want to rip it down. I'm just going to see how it goes. I have my local peppers that are doing pretty well. I obviously harvest a lot. A lot of them I picked off that have rotted or gone bad. I just kind of throw them off to the side. And I continue to pick more and more off of there and give them to my brother-in-law. Then we have the basil. We have the rosemary. I picked some rosemary. And I have picked some basil too. I've also been going in and plucking all the leaves that have like the grape. There's a grape vine next door that they actually like grow wild, so it grows above in the tree above my garden, and sometimes the grapes fall down and they kind of fall onto my basil, so I kind of clip them. Then we have over here my go in there and take some of these leaves out. Go in there, and there's my marigolds, and then finally the French vanilla marigolds have grown in pretty long. Then we have some of the onions, scallions over here, the tarragon and the sage here, some more marigolds, and I'm assuming this is another variety of marigolds that are kind of growing wild over here. So let us go and check out the pumpkins. Now, my husband and I have talked about it. We're not going to do pumpkins next year. We're not really big pumpkin lovers. It was more of an experiment. And unfortunately, the experiment failed because if you look at it, this whole thing has died out. It's kind of sad to see how... It's really painful to see this tree. The leaves are burning out. Those leaves aren't looking too great. I mean, it is growing pretty strong up into this tree that's right above me. I mean, you could see it over here. Fortunately, with the sun and everything, might be a little difficult. Okay, there we go. You can see it here. It's growing nice and big. Like, you see the flowering happening. It's awesome. I finally learned the difference between a male and a female, which is great. I saw that on Growing Your Greens. He did a video on it. But I mean, if you look at this, it's kind of sad. We do little but surely of cleaning this up. We're not gonna do pumpkins next year. We are going to build a small raised bed to house some watermelon, but we do have pumpkins growing. We got a pumpkin here. We have a larger pumpkin here. We have another one over here in this vicinity. You can see it right there. But when I look at it, it kind of looks like the ornamental ones that you put on your table. So I don't know, we'll see how it goes, I guess. Oh, there's another one over there. Zoom in so you can see it. The only other problem we have is this is poison ivy, which is a problem. But hopefully I can get this yard cleaned up and address the poison ivy situation, because I really want my yard to look pretty. And it's nice to do gardening, but you also want your backyard where you're housing your garden to look presentable. It makes it easier for when you decide to when you go out there. So I thought it would be a smart idea to show you the difference between a male and a female flower. Now, you're not going to really get any vegetables from your male, and if you do, they don't taste very good and they don't get very big. But the reproductive system, I guess, of the flowers is very similar to that of the humans. If you look at this pollinator, it looks very similar to that of a male. So this is a male flower. And you'll also tell at the stem, they're typically, for a female, has a bulb at the bottom, and that's typically the flower that is to bloom, and that's where you get your vegetable, and some time or another it will fall off. Let's see if we can find ourselves a female. And to be honest with you, I don't think I see one. Nope, we don't have any females, at least not close to the ground that I can find. We probably have some up top, like that one's probably one right there. So typically the bees come in, the flowers kind of open up in the morning. You'll see them like really early in the morning. They're really opened up, and during the day they kind of close up like this. Sometimes you'll find some little flies inside of them, but I really don't like the way this looks. I mean, it's kind of sad, especially when you start growing and stuff like that. You kind of get attached to what you're growing, and I would have to say that's exactly what's happened to me. I've gotten attached to what I'm growing. But if you grow in a greenhouse, it is good to differentiate the flowers. I mean, the female flower, if you look at the inside, it looks like a bunch of pollinators kind of rolled in. It looks very similar to the genitalia of a female human. You just take that, you rip that flower off, you rip back the leaves, and you could actually eat them. Nice stuff through pumpkin blossom. Then you take that pollinator, you just lightly rub it around the female. You don't stick it in like you do for between a male and a female human. You just kind of rub it around that, and it'll pollinate it. You don't need to do that if you have your garden wide open like I do, because the bees will do that work for you. It is important though, when you first start growing, to grow flowers around, and the smell of the flowers will attract the bees, and the bees will come. I would have to say that those sunflowers that my sister grew was really what attracted the bees to my garden, along with the marigolds. So that's everything. It's August 30th, 2012, and this is my update video. Probably won't have one for a few weeks just because my school semester started, and my main focus is on that, and that my son's is going to school too. So it'll be a couple weeks, but if you want to leave some comments, maybe some ideas for videos or something you want to see, I would greatly appreciate it.